Welcome
to the American Modified Armor Grill Jeep install video. You have either just purchased or looking to purchase the Armor Grill for the JL and JT and want to know how easy or hard it is to install. Well, we're here to show you how easy it really is with a in-depth step-by-step guide. Let's first check out what comes in the box. So, this is what comes in the box. Obviously, the grill. It's a nice looking grill. Mind you, if you have a camera, there actually is a place to put the camera, so don't be afraid. If you have the camera, you're not losing it. Also, what comes in the box is your camera mounts. These are some extra brackets to help maintain it on the side. It comes with all the wirings for the little lights, an installation guide, and weather stripping to go on top of it. Now, let's see what tools we need. What we have is all the tools that are going to be needed to change out this grill. So first, for ours, we are going to have to change out the bumper. So we have an 18 millimeter deep well socket for the bumper bolts. We have a 5/8 to remove the winch and a 1/2 inch to remove the skid plate. We also have a 1/2 inch drive ratchet. We have a flathead screwdriver, which is actually going to help take out all the tabs on the top. We have a Phillips head screwdriver that's going to help remove the screws to take off the camera bracket as well as put it back on. A T20 Torx bit, which is going to take the camera off the old grill. We're going to need plenty of zip strips because we have several wires to move every so which way. Also, your choice of zip strip beautification. Then there's some wiring involved, so we're going to need wire strippers as well as wire crimpers, some black tape, and a 13 millimeter to take the negative battery post off. Now, what we have added is a fuse tap device. Now, what that's going to allow us to do is basically tap into the fuse instead of having to find a switch, put it on a switch, find a different accessory, put it on a ring, something like this. This just taps right into the fuse. That way I can put it right on an accessory. So that being said, here's all the tools that we're going to need to install this awesome looking grill. Let's get to it. So one thing you're going to have to look at is your bumper, if you have an aftermarket bumper or a winch on it or any combination of such. Some of these combinations may actually require you removing, say, the bumper if it sits high enough, or the winch if it sits in the way. So it all depends on what combination you have as to whether you can just loosen it or you have to remove it completely. So outside of that, we are gonna have to loosen the winch. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll show you taking the grill off. Okay, so we actually had to remove the entire bumper just to get to the bolts for that. Again, it depends on your bumper winch combination, whether you have to do all that. Now, the actual deinstallation. The actual removal, there we go. Now, the actual removal. So, there are, we'll start with this one, 6 of these little nuts right here. They're very, very simple. Work on both sides with a simple flathead screwdriver. It'll pop up like that. Once they pop up, you'll pull out the center. And pull out the rest of the nut. Now, you can save this. However, American Modified has sent all new nut certs. So save them if you want, just in case you break them later. They're not a bad thing to hold on to, but you don't necessarily have to. So let's pop the rest of these off. Some of them are a little bit more difficult than the others. Some you struggle with a little more. And some you might actually break. These, I couldn't tell you how many of these I've broken before. Luckily for me, my local hardware store actually has some. Like that one. You think so? Okay. All right. So this, being a 392, makes slight difference. We have these little hood protectors because these hoods are heavy, let me tell you. One of your tabs is actually underneath it, so just make sure you get that last tab.
If you have a trim removal tool, it may also make popping them out a little easier. We don't have one, so we're using a screwdriver like most everybody should have at home.
Yeah, and considering those are typically specialty tools, so most people don't have them anyways. All right, once those 6 are pulled out, there's they're little metal clips on either side of it. They just rock loose, but here's where it gets complicated. If you have the camera, you need to disconnect the water. All right. Now you can undo your camera because it makes it a little bit easier to get to. Yep, just lots of mud. So little tab right here, if you push down, it lifts up on this side, enough for you to separate it. And off it comes. Okay, so here we are. We got it laid out. We got the other one laid out ready too as well, but we're going to pull the camera off of this one. So a T20 Torx. Ooh, wrong way. It helps to loosen it. And the whole camera bracket slides out. And then we're going to cut just the zip strips that hold all this together. Being careful not to cut the wire. All right, there's my camera. All right, so the other part you're gonna need is for your actual washer part. So, nice little tug, that piece comes out. You're gonna save that one. But in here, my flathead. Well, in here, it's got the little squeeze clip. So you're gonna squeeze them together, and then it pushes out the front, which we'll gather that and save it. Now I'm going to move this one out of the way and start working on the new one. All right, now let's get this one put back together. Sure is a fine looking grill. All right, we'll start with the camera. So we've got all the camera pieces pulled out. We're going to start with the flatter looking bracket. I'll run everything through it. And it coming out of the other bracket is just as easy as it going into this bracket. Ta-da! And the same with the other piece. Make sure you get it to where it's pointing upward. Because that's something I would have done. It just snaps in there. And then your rubber boot goes over it. And then it should be, when you can get in there, you can orientate it to the right way that it goes. All right. Once we get that in there, we can mount the camera through the little hole and all that together. Now, I need my screwdriver. This is just the retaining bracket if someone does not have a camera. So if you do not have the camera, you do not take out this part. This little piece right here. If you do have the camera, you take it out. And they even sent the screws to put them in. And just like that, your camera is installed. Now, routing this, once we start zip stripping everything else, we'll zip strip it with it, but your camera needs to go to your driver's side. All your lights, as we get them wired up, needs to go to your passenger side, unless you are running a diesel. If you have the diesel, a lot of the engine bay is swapped. Your battery and your fuse box is actually on the driver's side. Your camera still is, but all your battery and electronics are actually going to be on the driver's side. All right. So, you get all your wires hooked up. There's not a specific order, or at least that I can tell. Everything is wired together at the end. All right, now just make it look pretty. The best way you know how. All right, wire beautification complete. So just use some zip strips and some black tape to hold it in place for right now. Remember, the camera to the driver's side, all the other lights and electrical to the passenger side, except for on the diesels. Everything goes to the left, everything goes to the driver's side. So, next, we've got 8 of these fun little clips right here. We're going to attach those. These little studs right here, you just take the V and you push them down. It is that simple. All right, now, the very last thing we got to do, for the technical term that I do not know which they are, these little winglets have to be added because this is going to be one of your points where your tabs go through. So they send you screws. The screws go in these little holes and they line up with these holes right here. Oh, this one right here just needs a little cleaning up. Make a little hole in it where we can get through it. Or I'll throw it down. There's only one way that they fit on there because they'll fit with that groove. Or with the curve, not the groove. Now, you don't want to use power tools on this part because you can just as easily tear through and strip out the plastic on the inside of it. So all you need to do is just get them good and tight. Just like that. The grill is now put together and ready to be reinstalled. Let's go put it on the Jeep. All right, so we got our grill. Everything all looks all good, nice and clean. We're gonna set it up here, get a little bit lined up. We're gonna start by clipping these together, and we will probably need to find a way to secure that here in just a second. But I want to come over here and take my wires. Now, I also want to preface, we have aftermarket headlights, so these headlights are very, very slim. The stock headlights are very, very large. So running these wires might be a little more difficult. This is the way I chose to do it. If you wanted to, you can come up and go over. You just have wires here. I am choosing to go under the headlight. And since it's going to be easy for me to fish, up to the fuse box. Now you just want to make sure that you have plenty of play right here, because when you go to snap this in right here, you don't want this to be trapped between that point right there. All right. We're going to use one to just help hold that right there. And that's going to keep that under there. And I'm actually, since I had to move this a little bit, I'm going to put another piece right here. And all these are going to do is just hold where your wires are running. Yours may run just slightly different, so your tape might be in slightly different places. All right. So we've got our winch pulled out of the way. We've got our clips generally lined up. Don't forget your water. So camera's hooked up, water's hooked up, wires out of the way. With everything generally lined up, I'm going to make sure all my wires are out of the way. And nice little bumps will help those clips snap into place. There we go. Sometimes they take just little alignments to help make sure they're all in the right area. Yep, that one's snapped in. And then this one.
There it went.
Yep, there it went. Just the way these sit on the headlights. So, all right. There, for the most part, you've got it all in. Now we're going to take these clips. All right. So yes, that looked like I struggled a little bit, but I do want to show you, if you can kind of see it, there looks like a little S pattern in there. These things match. All right, so we got the rest of these in. To preface a little bit, you might have to use a little bit of a helpful hand, the back of a tool, to help push some of these in, because they're very snug, so they're bigger than the stock ones, but it makes them fit very well, which I'm actually very impressed with. I really like it. It makes the grill sits very well with them in there. It just takes a little bit of persuading. So that said, again, 392, we have something slightly different. We have these little hood holders bouncers, bounce preventers. I'm not really sure what they are, if you want me to be honest. But they were on there, so we're going to put them back. So there's a little hole right here, just like that. And there's actually 2 holes, but the second one you can't get enough in. So we've used some double-sided tape just to make the install a little bit easier, if I can get it undone. So it'll simply snap in. Oop, I missed a little bit. And lay down. So there's not a whole lot of space for them to actually catch onto for the new grill, but there's enough. So there's that. There is the grill in a nutshell. We need to come over here and do the wiring. Oh, the weather stripping piece. The weather stripping piece is a super easy piece to line up. All this is going to do is help buffer the hood as well. Help keep it from bouncing, help have a nice secure area. So this tab right here is where we're going to line up the first part of it. And we're going to line the edges up, the backside edge, all the way across it, along this top edge. And it will come out to being at the center of that piece too. And don't worry, your hood will help keep that down. All right, the very last thing we've got to do is hook up the electrical. Remember, I've run it underneath the headlight, so it comes up here. I've run it along the fuse box, and on the back side of the fuse box allows wires to run in and out. Now again, 392 versus 3.6. The 3.6, they're actually going to be the opposite. The battery's more towards the front, the fuse box more towards the back. But you have plenty of line, and I've just kind of coiled it underneath here for show purposes. But super simple. I have provided a fuse tap. So I've just put my fuse tap on here, and I've selected a fuse. On my box, it is one that says HDACCY, heavy duty accessory. So we'll take our fuse tap and push it in. I'm going to run my wire where it's nice and clean. Oop, I got to put my little fuse puller back in. There's no right or wrong way, no rhyme or reason, anything else to get this to settle in there. Just whatever works best for you. And then your ground. I'll take my ground loop and I will slide it on and screw it down. I try to keep my wirings neat. I do want to say I don't want this end poking over this way, anything like that, but the little wire moving over it I'm okay with. You can certainly clean it up any soever which way you would like. You know, if you could take more of your wire and run it around either side, underneath your loops, anything that you would want to do to help beautify it. So outside of that, the grill is fully installed. We need to put together our front bumper again because we had to pull ours off. So I'm going to assemble it real quick and we'll be back. And there you have it, a brand new Armor grill from American Modified Off-Road. Looks pretty slick if I do say so myself. Wiring wasn't hard, plugged right in. Camera mount was super easy. Let me tell you, they thought of everything when they put all these together. It's a nice sturdy material and it fits very well. I will say, when you're putting it together, when you first get all the clips in and all of them batted down, it feels like it doesn't fit quite right because I had the thought myself. But once you get the tabs across the top together, and they have the bigger ones and they're harder to get in there, but it makes it fit so much better, and then it's just so rigid. It fits very well. I am very impressed as to how well it fits in there. So other than that, we appreciate your purchase, or at least your consideration for it, and thanks for watching.